Hey, maggots. Let's go down a fight to the lightweights. Rafael Dos Anjos versus Mark Bocek. Really kind of a very, very handily win. Dos Anjos looked a lot smoother than Bocek did. And Chris and I were talking about it yesterday on the MMA podcast, talking about whether Rafael Dos Anjos deserves a top fight in the lightweight division. You know, he's kind of on a streak here. He's just beaten Kamal Shalorus, Anthony Njokuani, and Mark Bocek. And although none of those guys are, you know, the who's who of the lightweight division, I still think he deserves that elite fight. And I'd personally like to see him fight the winner of Jim Miller versus Joe Lauzon next. What do you guys think, Ramses?
Sorry.
Ramses?
Yeah, sorry.
You were
about that.
smoking marijuana, weren't you?
You busted me, man. How on earth did you ever fucking guess? Oh, but no, I'll keep it short with fucking Dos. Is it Dos Anjos or Dos Anjos?
Dos Anjos.
Whatever you want.
Caralho.
See, cause I happen to have a little Hispanic in me, to tell you the truth, and I've heard so many different pronunciations. I don't even know, but yeah, Rafael, he's on a 3-fight win streak, but I didn't even bother to watch the fucking fight again because it was boring as hell. It was boring as fuck, man. It went to a decision, just like his last fight, and I'll be damned if any one of us here in the roundtable, I'll be damned if any one of you can name the last 2 fighters he beat before Mark Bocek. Without looking up,
Kamal Shalorus and some other
Anthony Njokuani. I just said that.
No. I was gonna say without looking it up and cheating.
I didn't. I don't need to.
Okay, fine. All right. You got me on that. But Dos Anjos, he needs to make a mark somehow, because apparently beating a mark wasn't enough. All right. I hope he gets a big fight against a big name opponent because I want to at least give him a chance to show us what he's got before I officially declare him like a bum ass point fighter, because that's all I've seen from him so far. But I want to see him fight somebody big, like somebody, I want to see him go up against somebody elite before I pass judgment on him. And just a quick word on the street about Mark Bocek. He's not going anywhere. Even though how many losses is it for him now?
14.
Yeah, something like that. He's not going anywhere because obviously he's the dude that trained Lorenzo Fertitta and Dana White. He trained them on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and introduced them to that shit. So they literally owe him their livelihoods. So he's not going anywhere. Rafael, he's got to fight somebody big, or else he's not going anywhere either.
A quick note about Bocek before we pass it off to Dave. Actually, before losing this fight against Dos Anjos, since UFC 83, he was 7-2, or 6-2. His only 2 losses coming to Benson Henderson and Jim Miller. So really, he only loses to the elite. It's just we don't know where that line is of fighters he actually can defeat. He doesn't really have any impressive wins on his record in the UFC. Sorry, I'll pass it back to Dave.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say I was pretty shocked that he dominated Bocek the way he did. I thought he had the skills to win, that he'd win a close decision, but I didn't think he would pretty much dominate him like the way he did. I mean, he made Bocek look like he was not even UFC type material the way he put the whipping on him. That's what's next for him, I don't think I want to see him fight, like a top 10 opponent, but one person I had in mind was Michael Johnson, because he's fighting Miles Jury next, and he was pleading to get a top fight. But I think those two together, and then you really see where they both stand in that division. If they really can hang with the big guys or not, that would really put them on the cusp of getting that top 10 opponent. I would love to see those two go at it next, but fortunately he can't because he's fighting Miles Jury. So at the time, I really don't have an opponent for him right now, I guess.
I have to admit, I was pretty impressed with Rafael Dos Anjos in this fight. We'll call him RDA. I thought he looked good. I mean, I like Bocek. I remember watching Bocek's fight against Nick Lentz, and he schooled Nick Lentz, and Lentz is a good wrestler, but Bocek beat him with ease. And then RDA comes in, and he just dominated every aspect of the fight. I thought he looked good in the fight. I didn't find the fight particularly boring. That's just my own opinion. As for next opponents, I wouldn't be that fussed seeing him fight the winner of Jim Miller, Joe Lozon. I just think that's too much of a step up. I like the idea of him fighting Michael Johnson. I think that would be a good fight, and I don't understand the Johnson Jory fight. I think Michael Johnson's has earned the right to fight a better opponent, in my opinion. Another name I'd like to chuck in there, another guy who's on a pretty good win streak and is coming off of a win that he wasn't really expected to get, and especially the way he got it. But I wouldn't mind seeing Rafael dos Anjos take on Matt Wyman.
Wow, that's a fantastic call. I mean, you guys had this thought out. I didn't necessarily have it, thought out as much. So I think Matt Wyman is a perfect fight, a gritty B-level guy for sure. I co-sign that. Dos Anjos did impress me. You guys are right. Brought up some good points. Bocek looked kind of, flat, I guess you could say. And the biggest thing that I took out of this fight is that Rafael dos Anjos came into the UFC as primarily a grappler, and then his next genesis was becoming a striker. He abandoned his grappling game, and his last 3 fights, he's become a full-fledged mixed martial artist. So I think he is a legit threat at lightweight, and I think that with his next big test, we'll finally see where he's at in the division.